I'm here at Larry H. Miller Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and they have this 2018 Ram 3500 with the Cummins. It also has the long bed. I think that if you're looking for a reliable piece of equipment, the 2018 Ram is probably one of the most reliable years that you can get. It does have the 342s, but we'll talk about that later. But here's the window sticker when this truck was brand spanking new. 2018 long box, as I mentioned. Base price, do you guys see that? I miss these days. $52,245. It's pretty good. And then here's just a short listing of the standard equipment. You're going to see 373 here because the Hemi came standard. So if you get the diesel, well, you get that 342. So be sure to pause if you want to see more of that standard equipment. Continues up here, and then here are all the options. So the convenience group, diesel option is right there. Comes with a 68R fee. And I love how back then Ram did kind of nickel and dime you. So if you wanted the keyless entry, or the smart key system as I call it, you had to pay extra for that. There's a few other things too in the past you had to pay extra for, like remote start. Oh, check this out. Remember this? Those days are gone. But destination back then was only $1,395. It's like $19.95 today. Total price is $64,410. But because this truck is used, well, it has, I think, 85,000 miles on it. Yeah, 84,860. And they want $51,800 at Larry H. Miller. So you get a decent discount. And for most people, that's still a lot of money, I would say, for a truck that almost has 100,000 miles. But as I've said in the video, this is a pretty reliable spec. The Carfax shows 2 previous owners, and it was titled both times in Utah. And I'm willing to bet you that the first owner traded this truck in on a 2019. So when he saw that 2019, he traded up and got that truck because he pretty much got rid of it at the end of the year. And this truck pretty much got retitled pretty quickly, so this one didn't last long either as a used truck, although it had pretty good miles on it when it was traded in the first time. Anyone that says that Ram trucks do not hold their value have no idea what they're talking about. Even in the past, from my experience, if you're getting a Cummins 2500, 3500, you're going to pay good money for these trucks. Because I almost bought a used 3500 before I bought my 2018 2500, and that truck was about the same price as a new one. Now let's check out front to see if there's any damage. So let's start up on the paint. So there are a few rock chips, some of these of which have been repaired. I don't think they were done at the dealership, but yeah, there's a few nicks and crannies, which you would expect for 85,000 miles. Headlights look amazing, like really, really good. The chrome bumper has some nicks and crannies on it too, but not too bad. That's what you could expect when you're going on the road, especially out here in Utah. But grill looks great. And I actually had this exact color. I did have the 20-inch wheels though, but apart from that, it was all chrome on the front end. And these 18s are wrapped in a Cooper Discover tire. These are not the original ones. Firestones are the original ones. I'm sure they wore those out within 20,000 miles, which is why I don't like those tires. And these are LT 275/70 18. And here are the capacities right there. Is that right? 3,640 pounds? Yep. 80 PSI. Solid front axle. And, you know, for 2019, they did refresh that radius arm. They put the holes in to make it a little bit lighter. And let's check under. So definitely some rust under here. And you would expect that, especially out here in Salt Lake. But not bad though. I mean, this can all be easily repaired. Now on the body, there's a little bit of surface rust. And because it's a long bed, it does give you the 32-gallon tank up from 31 gallons, which is kind of pitiful. And because this is a 1-ton, you're gonna have 4 leafs in the main pack. Air suspension was available around this time. And then they do have a bed step out back. It is aftermarket through, is that Lund? L-U-N-D? Yes. Parking sensors front and rear. I'm not sure if you guys noticed that. And backup camera for the Class 5 receiving hitch, 4 and 7 pin. This is not assisted. And this bed is actually in good condition without it not having a spray in. And one thing I love about buying used trucks is you could always have the dealership include this in if you're planning on financing, that we don't have to pay out of pocket for it. But yeah, the body looks great. Again, this small like little nicks in here and there, but this is probably the best truck I've seen, because normally I'll go and look at some of the used trucks they have, but I just never did videos on them. And this truck is in decent condition. Now let's go ahead and talk about this standard output Cummins. So here is the standard output Cummins. The way you know if you don't have a window sticker or something like that, on the 6-8 RFE transmission ones, this is a standard output Cummins transmission. The dipstick's on that side. If it was the Eisen, it'd be on this side. So 350 horsepower, 800 pound-feet of torque. In 2019, they did up the power to 370 and 850 pound-feet of torque. And I think they did some updates to the 6-8 RFE. I own this configuration. I towed my fifth wheel with it, although I shouldn't have been with the 2500, but it towed well. And the only thing was, because of the coil suspension on the 3/4 tons, it was a little bouncy. But on these 1 tons, these are the perfect trucks for that. And I don't care what anyone says, that 6-8 RFE, if you take care of it and you don't modify this engine, it'll last you 300,000-400,000 miles easily. Now, surprisingly, this truck is still healthy even with all the emissions crap on it. But if you want to know if a Ram has high idle, all you do is hit cruise control on and then push set, and then you can high idle it up to about 1500 RPMs. This came standard on these trucks back in the day. Ford and GM don't give that to you. I think if you're getting a diesel, that should be standard equipment. Push button start was an option on Laramie's back then too. Everything looks as it should. That's something that my truck started doing around the time when I traded it in. All you gotta do is just spray a little bit of lube on it and it goes away. But carpet in here looks great. Leather seats. These have held up well for 80,000 miles. They actually are a little bit nicer than the Ford truck, Super Duty ones I did from 2015. And has about the same amount of miles. What's up, buddy? Look who it is. You work here or something? I do. What's up, man? So here are the engine hours for this truck too. This is really, really good. 524, 2,731 driving. So if you don't know this, these newer trucks with all the emission stuff, it's not really a good idea to let these trucks idle. But Ram's been doing this for a long time, and that's why I've always preferred them, because they just give you more information at your fingertips to really monitor while you're driving. Same thing goes for your exhaust, turbo, boost, battery voltage, fuel filter, oil life, transmission temp, tire pressure, and then back. Now, as far as this screen goes, this is an 8.4-inch display, dual climate control. It does have cooled seats, only 2 levels for that, and the heated seats, also heated steering wheel down below. Exhaust brake, they still have 2 levels, or 2-stage, whatever you want to call it. 4-wheel drive systems here. Whenever I look at a used truck, the #1 thing I always do is I turn everything on. If it's the winter time, I would get the truck really, really hot, and then I will drop down the temperature and turn the air conditioner on and see how effective it is. Like right now, it's 92 degrees outside. This AC is blowing really, really cold, and it doesn't even have the recirc on. So there you go. Down below, some storage, and this does have the 6-passenger and storage below the seat. And here's some of the storage on this side. And overall, like I said, this truck is in great condition. Like, these seats are still nice and plush and comfortable. And this truck could probably last another 20 years if you take care of it. Now on this side, you still have a power seat. And here's some of your controls. And then out back, wow. Even the roof looks pretty good. It's not hanging. Actually, it might be a clip in the center there that you might need to do, but storage below the seat here. Cup holders. And now let's go ahead and check out the payload. But before we do that, you see what's missing back here? You do have a sliding glass, but the defrost was a separate option. That was one thing I hated about this truck. So here are the numbers. Gross axle weight rating up front is gonna be 6,000 pounds. The rear is 7,000. And then 12.3 is the gross vehicle weight rating because of the long bed. If you get a long bed or mega cab, you get 12.3. If you get a standard bed crew cab, you get 11.8. So they give you 500 pounds. And then here's your payload. That is a big payload, 4,000. Oh, sorry about that. It will not focus, but yeah, 4,338 pounds. Maybe that's my screen. No, that's my screen. Maybe that's why it didn't look. You guys can see that. But yeah, 4,338 pounds of payload capacity. Now this truck does not have spray-in bed liner. Fifth wheel prep package. It has the bench up front. It does not have the high output Cummins, which would give you the Eisen, which is heavier. So that's why this truck is slightly lighter. So if you were to get an Eisen fifth wheel prep package, spray in, sunroof. Actually, this truck doesn't have clearance lights. No surprise out here in Utah. But if they had those things on it, it'd probably be close to like 3,900 pounds. But I hope you guys liked the video. Special shout out to Larry H. Miller. If you are in the market, be sure to reach out to these guys. Let them know you saw the video. Oh yeah, by the way, the 342s on this truck, I've towed with it. It's great if you keep the truck stock, but if you do go with a taller tire, things like that, it does feel sluggish because I've driven trucks in this model year with taller tires and it felt like it was lugging a little bit because these trucks don't have as much, horsepower and torque as the high output. So just keep that in mind. See you guys later.